It usually takes about 8 days before I defecate. That's like thrice in a month. Imagine. The major reason is because of the pain I would feel when I want to use the toilet. The pain would be so bad that I wouldn't be able to do my normal house chores within these 8 days. So my healing. I'm thanking God for life and the grace to stand up here testifying of His healing hands, which has rested on me in a way I didn't expect. Some pain I thought I would suffer for the rest of my life. I'm thanking God for specifically for healing from chronic anal fissure. So when I was about 11 to 12 years of age, on a fateful day, I realized that I hadn't defecated for about 4 days, and that was me in the 5th day. My stomach was so big and rigid. I wouldn't even feel like eating. I would be letting out gas without control. I was really uncomfortable and wondered why this was happening. A while later, I felt like finally using the toilet. When I went to eat out, I couldn't. It was difficult and accompanied with severe pain. I drank about 3 sachets of water, cried my eyes out, and even to think that no one was at home. I spent about 2 hours before finally defecating successfully. And that day marked the beginning of endless pain before and after defecating. So this is how it works. It usually takes about 8 days before I defecate. That's like thrice in a month. Imagine. The major reason is because of the pain I would feel when I want to use the toilet. The pain would be so bad that I wouldn't be able to do my normal house chores within these 8 days. There was a very significant and painful experience I had that I had to cry and beg God that even if I had to pass through this for the rest of my life, it shouldn't be as it was. So my healing. I had also not been in Uyo since November 2024. So when I returned in January and came to church on the 31st, I guess that was on Friday, a Friday meeting. Then I first heard the Tari announcement that we should be expectant will be happening on the 14th of February. All my mind was just centered on my healing and how I would finally be free, because what I was living was definitely not called life. I wondered how little things that meant nothing to people would just be so difficult to some people. So I had been praying to God earnestly that I needed a healing. So on that week, which was the week of the Tari, that was on Monday, I found myself doing what I was not supposed to do. And before this time, warnings had been coming. Stay away from sin. So you will get what really your Father or God has for you. Because sin will just continually rip you out of His grace and whatsoever He has kept in store for you. So that Monday, throughout that Monday till on Wednesday, it had been as if everybody was fighting against my healing encounter. I would just be angry. People would just make me upset and angry. Very specifically on the Wednesday during the Bible study meeting, I just made up my mind that when I come to church, oh God, I'll just come and pray and cry that you forgive me for all I've done since from Monday, so I can have my healing on Friday. I was so earnestly expecting that I will get healed. So that Wednesday before 5 p.m., which was the time for the meeting, I was so tempted and upset and angry. My heart was so heavy, especially when I knew that it's today that I had to do my final forgiveness prayer. My heart was so heavy that when I broke the keke to enter, my eyes were filled with tears. I was just crying. I didn't know why. And then for context, since I came to God's Lighthouse, the memory verse that will be taught that day or the worship service would somehow have one or two things to do with me, either giving me instructions or guiding me on what I should do or what I'm going through at that time. But this time, when I was in church that Wednesday, after the testimonies, I waited earnestly for the memory verse that will prepare me for my prayer. Then I heard, "Woe to you at house to house." I say, "Hey, my one has finished." So God, today, you prepared today for me. I really wanted. I was so for the first time, I was so shocked. I just kept hope for the worship section. And immediately after the memory verse, I guess Sister Imem she didn't just leave immediately. The person that was in charge of the memory verse, pastor just walked in. We were all seated, like, no, give God praise, thank God for testimonies. Pastor just walked in and said, while sitting, give God praise and thank him. I'm not like, hey, my own has finished. No even songs to prepare me. I just said in my mind, let me just say simple prayer of forgiveness. When I started praying, pastor brought out a song. I guess the chorus was good God, great God. There's a solo there that was so touching, and it's as if God just told him he should support me in my faith and just help me. I cried earnestly for forgiveness, and I swore that I will never sin again, no matter what. Afterwards, I just had peace, and every anger and bitter heart, I just had peace. So on the final day of the tarry, which was on 14th February, I also had some obstructions, because when I told my auntie I was coming for tarry night on 14th of February, Valentine's Day, they thought I was actually going to somewhere else. But I still held on. I came there. I came to church. I kept calling on God not to pass me by that day, because I really needed healing. And once we entered the prayer section and pastor started praying for healing, I just said in my mind, it is done, and I believed I had been healed. Then the next morning, the Saturday morning after I left church, I felt very pressed to use the toilet, but I still had that fear of pain. When this is what actually happens, and then I just felt that fear. I didn't want to go. I just wanted to postpone it till how I used to do. But I couldn't. It was really disturbing. I had to rush into the toilet. Miracle. I didn't have to cry or sing my praise and worship section. I just defecated. Zero pain, zero everything I used to experience for about 4 years of my life. Oh, Jesus. After that time, I defecated 2 more times on that same day. Some people would feel uncomfortable, like I'm purging, like some people would say, but for me it was a miracle. And that had been all till now. I defecate like a normal human being, twice or once a day. In the name of the Lord be praised.
Thanks for watching. For more stories of God's transforming power as well as all the life-changing content, do check out the links in the description. Please do not forget to subscribe, like, turn on your notification bell, and share. God bless you.